Hello folks, Alex Rodriguez here with Bay Cities Construction. Welcome to another episode of the Bay Cities Construction Show. Today we have a special guest from Pella, and we're going to talk about windows and doors. This is a window and door episode. Everything you need to know about windows and doors, particularly we're going to be talking about the Pella brand window and doors, and we're going to show you some examples of a job that we installed, the Pella high-end series windows and doors. So check it out. My name is Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor, you need a team of pros. Well folks, welcome to the show. Today we are on episode 44, and I'm here with my good friend Donovan from Pella Windows and Doors. We're going to talk about the window and door action. Say hi, Donovan, to the folks out there.
How are we doing tonight, folks? Thank you for having me on, Alex.
Oh man, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, really stoked about having a chat tonight. But before we start talking about windows and doors, I just want to recap real quick the episode 43. For those of you that wanted some information on vaulted ceilings and how to insulate if you have a vaulted ceiling house and it gets hot and stuff, we put together an episode. It's episode 43. We'll have a link for you below so you can catch that replay. And you're going to watch it on YouTube or Facebook, of course. That's the normal deal. But tonight, we're going to be talking about windows and doors. We're also going to be talking about how it affects, window and door installation affects you if you live up in PV Estates or Mirror Leste with the Palos Verdes Homeowners Association. So we're going to cover tonight with Donovan. He's an expert in his product, and we're going to talk about the traditional reserve style, the traditional reserve and lifestyle series. So Donovan, let me ask you a question regarding the series. Tell us a little bit about the three most popular series.
Yeah. So we've got our three main series right now in terms of wood clad products. Wood with aluminum clad. When I say clad there. And we've got our lifestyle series, we've got an architect series, and then we have a reserve series. And within those architect and reserve series, we actually have a traditional style and a contemporary style. Okay. And so, and then the lifestyle series, which is that entry level wood clad series, is it's more versatile. So you can it's got a little bit of a contemporary style in terms of the sash profile. But if you add grids to it, then it can give you that traditional style as well. Cool.
So you've got three main compositions, right? You've got vinyl, you've got fiberglass, and then you've got a wood window that's got a metal clad on the outside and then a paintable interior, right?
Absolutely. Yep. So we start with our vinyl series. We have one line under that right now. It's our 250 series. And then when you go up to our fiberglass, we have what we call Impervia, and that's a full fiberglass through and through. Super strong material. And then when you get into the wood series, all of our wood lines are going to come standard with an aluminum clad on the exterior.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I know you have a sample window here. We'll kind of get into that in a minute, but give us a little bit of background info on Pella as a company and like what how you guys kind of got founded. And
yeah, for sure. So I'm actually from Iowa. I grew up near Pella. And 1925, Pella was actually started by a guy named Pete, of the name of Pete Kuiper. He actually started the company on Rolscreens, which are the retractable screens that actually roll up, at the top of the window. And we only sold screens for the longest time. And then we eventually got into the window market and, wood specifically. And, as the times have changed, we've just widened our product offering, and now we have vinyl, fiberglass, and wood, which is awesome. So we've constantly been innovating ever since those roll screens. We still incorporate them into the windows today, and as a company, we have over 150 patents actually. So wow. We're constantly staying ahead of the game in terms of innovation. And we're actually family owned. A lot of people don't know
really?
that.
So you're privately owned?
Yeah. Well, so we're family owned, privately held. And so, okay. Wow. There's actually members of the Kuiper family that are actually still on the board today that make us family owned. So, it's a pretty cool fun fact that we have there. So
the windows are still made here in the States. They're not imported.
Absolutely. So we've got over 10 factories throughout the U.S., but all of our wood product is still manufactured in Iowa, in Pella, Iowa, at the headquarters there.
And so, and then I know you have a factory that does vinyl windows.
Yeah. So we manufacture vinyl windows in a few different locations. I know down here in Southern California, we get ours from our Portland factory.
Okay, so up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Right. So, cool.
Yeah.
So we got some old, I guess it would be old school pictures that Brian can put up on the board so you guys can check them out. That's
it's the old Rolscreens that we started selling back in the early 1900s.
So oftentimes I get questions when I'm selling, I do window remodeling or window replacement as not as a standalone business, right? So we're primarily single family home remodeler, right? So we'll do additions or we'll gut the place out and kind of start over, and it depends. Every job's a little bit different, but for the most part we do residential construction, right? Mm-hmm. So oftentimes our customers will ask us, which window should we install, or maybe they went and started doing some research and went to maybe some of the local showrooms, etc. And when it comes to houses that require, when we use Pella, we've used Pella for vinyl windows, but really, I think the brand is the strongest, particularly in the wood window segment, right? So if the architecture of the house is modern or traditional, or there's specialty things about them, about the design that the homeowner wants, and they particularly ask for wood windows, I always consider Pella. And tell us a little bit about some of the features and the quality and the service that you guys stand behind the Pella brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. And, what I tell a lot of people is, we are a company that's been around for over 95 years. We're not going anywhere in the future. When you replace windows in a remodel, similar to a lot of the jobs that you do, that's going to be homeowners. You don't want to replace again after this replacement. So you want a high quality window that you're going to put in, and from the top down, we've got a lifetime warranty on all of our wood windows. Most other companies will do a 10 or a 20-year warranty on that, and it's really important to think about that stuff when you're near the coast, in the Palos Verdes area, South Bay, things like that. And, the attention to detail that we have, since we're headquartered in the Midwest there, it's an extreme climate in Iowa, so, a lot of our windows are tested above and beyond the, extreme winds, rainstorms, things like that. I know we don't have much of that out here in California, but when you are near the water, there's a lot of oxidation coming off, a lot of salt coming off the water as well. And so, all of our interior operating hardware and all of our windows is stainless steel as well. And so, we really just focus to a lot of the details, and these windows are made for extreme climates, and so you definitely want to put a high quality window in your home when you're replacing during a remodel. And so that's a few things.
So the warranty, what does that cover? Are we talking about the actual, like if the hardware fails, or if you have part of when we see a window that fails, right? Apart from being broken, is you could have gas loss, right? From your windows are insulated with argon gas, right? So if you have gas, that's where you get that little cloudy or kind of milky look, or what else? How else does the window fail as a component? So you've got the hardware, you've got the glass. What else?
Right. So you've got your hardware, you've got your glass, you've got your exterior cladding, and then you've also got the wood itself. And so when you're putting a wood window in, especially near the water, it is important to look at the warranty and things like that. And the way that we protect our wood, it's called an EnduraGuard that we use back in the factory. We actually protect our wood after it's cut, but before the window's assembled, so it's in all the nooks and crannies, and that's what allows us to put that lifetime warranty on it. And that covers for deterioration of wood. And so that's one of the biggest parts of our warranty. And then when you move to, warranty, you have a different warranty when it comes to hardware and glass. I believe our glass is a lifetime as well. I did just check that beforehand. And so, another thing to look at is that cladding. We have a Seacoast cladding that we actually use if you're near the water, within 2 miles, that upholds your warranty as well on that cladding. So, we like to say we have the best warranty in the industry, and we can really back that when we match up head to head with a lot of other companies.
Yeah, I've seen the cladding fade, right? The color especially when people pick like a darker color,
right?
Over by the Strand, over by Manhattan Beach, where you get tremendous amount of UV light exposure over a long period of time with that salt air. You definitely will see some of those windows starting to fade, or the cladding, the color becomes uneven, right? Like normally you start seeing like a getting lighter in certain in certain sections. So that's pretty cool. I want to talk a little bit about some of your kind of like the newer feature. You're talking about some of the windows that you have are patented. You have different patents for their operation. So talk a little bit about like the integrated roll screen.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a product that we've been doing Rolscreens since the early 1900s, and like I had mentioned earlier, and our older ones, they would just collect at the top, and we didn't really have an option for these single and double hung windows, and in terms of having a roll screen on them. And so what we came up with a few years ago is it's called our integrated roll screen, and it's actually the screen rolls up into a cylinder into the frame. So on your bottom sash where it meets the frame there's a magnet in which it connects to that sash. And so I brought an example for you today if you guys want to take a look at it. It's a pretty cool feature though, and then you can your screen is in the frame when you don't want it, but when you want it, then it attaches to that sash there.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do is after the break, we'll take a break in a little bit, and then we'll reset the camera so that the folks can see it.
That'd be great.
So I'm really excited about this product. I've installed a triple pane window in one of the jobs, and the house became silent. Now I think that your windows, a double pane window is pretty quiet, right? But when we installed the triple pane, I had a customer who didn't install triple pane in the whole house. He had a home office, and he got tired of listening to the noise from like somebody with a leaf blower outside, or somebody rolling down the street with a Harley, those kind of things while he was at work. So he had us do triple pane in his home office piece, and I think the master bedroom had triple pane. So what are the benefits of the triple pane, and like why is it quieter? Like mechanically, how do you get the noise with that type of window?
Yeah. So triple pane windows are super common near like busy highways, airports, things like that, and anywhere with loud noise. To be honest, or if people have indoor, places where they play music loud, things like that. It's a great window. Usually, when you have a triple pane window, it's strictly more specifically for sound, not necessarily higher energy ratings. And so, we actually have in our lifestyle series a sound package, which is pretty new as of about 2 years ago, and in which we can meet an STC rating of about 36, anywhere from 36 to 38, which is pretty incredible. And when you go to those 3 panes of glass, usually in those sound packages, you have 3 panes that are actually thicker than the average pane of when you have a dual pane. So usually on a dual pane, you have 2.5 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter. And in that sound package on that lifestyle series, we actually have a 3-5-4 package on that in terms of glass thicknesses. And so, kind of like what you said, the sound is just, it's virtually nothing, and it's a pretty cool feature.
So what do you, percentage-wise of like the ambient noise outside, how much better is a triple pane compared to a standard double pane? Like 30%, 40% less sound, less noise kind of bleeding through? What do you think?
Yeah, there's a good chart online that we like to use a lot, and we can attach that to the blog on this if you'd like.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it uses real life examples of, being a
bird.
motorcycle going by, or, kids playing outside, or, a rock band playing outside your window. So we can attach that for sure, and then how the STC ratings align with, typically what you'd hear.
Okay.
But it's substantially, more quiet than the dual pane, and the dual pane, like you said, is already pretty quiet, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, so how about the low E? So the low E is tell folks about what a low E coating is.
Yeah. So, over time, a lot of this stuff was implemented in Windows, to perform better. And so there's a few things that make Windows perform better. It's not just 2 panes of glass typically, or 3 panes of glass. The low E coating is actually a spray-on coating of essentially small metal particles, and it acts as a kind of like a mirror, to the sunlight on the outside reflecting back outside, and then the energy in your home coming back into your home. And it's actually a pretty cool feature, and we actually use 3 layers of that out here in California, for the maximum ratings there, and to meet Title 24 as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the argon glass, okay. I know that you guys pump more argon glass than the competitors. What does the argon gas do for the window? What performance does it improve?
Yeah. So the argon gas is going to be the gas in between your 2 panes of glass in your dual pane windows. And we always like to think of it as like a swimming pool full of peanut butter. So if you're trying to get through that, it's just a thick, inert gas that's pumped into the 2 panes of sealed glass. And it's just for slower, transfer of heat from the outside of your home, and your energy, your air conditioning in your home, from not getting out through those panes of glass. And so, it's just a super thick inert gas, and Pella, we pump it 99% full. It's kind of like a bike tire; you can't get 100%. But the industry standard's about 60%, and so we accommodate for that lost little bit that comes out every year just naturally. And so we meet the industry standard for many years to come, and we take all those things into consideration.
Cool. One of the things, if you live up in PV in the hillside, or if you live on the hillside in LA.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think people have taken for granted, or maybe failed to consider when they're buying the windows, is the potential or the exposure to wildfires, right?
Yeah.
So the number one intrusion, or the number one method that the house catches on fire, most people think it's through the roof, but it's not. It's through the windows. Mm-hmm. So if you live in a hillside, most likely you're going to have the windows tempered, and the tempering of the glass helps, right? Mm-hmm. Because tempered glass, as you know, is hardened at a much higher temperature, which means it could withstand more radiant heat from the outside than standard glass, right? But your windows having more argon, that's an invisible insulator, right? Mm-hmm. in the window. So if you've got 30-40% more argon glass in there, and you couple that with a triple pane window that's tempered, you've got a very good look. It's not going to make your house fireproof, but it's going to give you more time, right? More time for the fire department to come, more time for water drops hopefully to come, and in a fire situation, time is of the essence, right? So these are things that you should be considering as a property owner if you live in the hillsides, to make sure that you have the highest quality windows, or the highest performing windows also too, so that they're not just pretty, but they also perform.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about dealing with the Palos Verdes HOA. Maybe what we'll do is we'll take a quick break. So if you guys can please just stand by, watch a little quick commercial from Pella, and we'll be right back. Thanks very much.
Getting the right new windows with Pella was simple.
Yeah, when renovating a drafty old house, it can be hard to find great people.
Our dedicated Pella advisor was a godsend.
We had confidence in Pella. They sold over 5 million replacement windows and doors.
So we knew our local team would be on top of every detail.
And the installation was done in just a day.
Mom, the kitchen sink's broken again.
I wish Pella did plumbing.
What's up, guys? Alex Rodriguez here. We're continuing our conversation with Donovan from Pella Windows. We're going to talk a little bit about dealing with the Palos Verdes Homeowners Association. For those of you that don't live in Southern California, we're here in Torrance, and we do a lot of work up in Palos Verdes Peninsula, which is a beautiful part of Los Angeles, of the LA Basin. And up here, we have to deal with the Homeowners Association, and they are very particular about the windows and the doors and the look of the aesthetics of the house. So just to give you a little info, if you live in Orange County, there's some sections in Orange County that have an art jury, right? This is a very specialized component. It's not everywhere, but there are some neighborhoods that when the neighborhood was first established, the founders, if you will, decided that they wanted to keep or preserve the look of the neighborhood, and they created an art jury. That's right, an art jury. Some of you back east that maybe think we're kind of a little crazy. Well, it's California, man. We got to deal with it. So the art jury here in PV has designed the original master plan for the neighborhood, and you have two agencies, right? You've got the city that will look at your plans and make sure they comply with planning and with the current building codes, right? Here's kind of your standard stuff that everybody has to deal with. And then you've got the Palos Verdes Homeowners Association, the art jury, and they're really focused on preserving the look of the neighborhood. So the roofing, the outside colors, the configuration of the windows, all of that stuff they take into account. And whenever we have a job up in PV, I always think about Pella Windows because of the support that you guys provide in the diagrams. So right here we have an old picture of some of the first houses that were built up in PV, and that car looks like it's from the 40s or something like that. So they've been around for a long time. So this is a sample of one of your detail diagrams of a door on the left. For those of you guys watching from home, this is kind of just a detail looking at it, and then this is a detail from above. Mm-hmm. So this shows the connections from the outside wall and the inside wall, right?
Correct, yeah, and you can see, I really like how they draw out our cut sheets. You can see the wood grain, and so you can see that, when you're buying a wood product, you're getting a wood window or door through and through. Mm-hmm. With just that cladding on the exterior. I know a lot of companies will, they'll claim to have a wood product, and then there will be a mix of products in between there. So it's always good to look at these cut sheets and just know what you're getting, in the guts of your window. And so these, you can see that, you've got a full wood window, and it's nice because in that art jury, all of our wood clad products have been approved by them. So
for those of you considering wood windows, I urge you to consider Pella. Look, this is these schematics that they provide represent hours of drawing. If you were to pay an architect or draftsperson to draw all of these details, and believe me, they're going to be required, we have to take your drawings to the next level and show how the stucco connects on the outside, and we have to show a profile of that. Mm-hmm. But it cuts down a tremendous amount of drafting time for us, for our drafters, because we will basically incorporate the drawings you already did and then show how the stucco is going to be on the outside, and then how the inside is going to be wrapped with molding, right? Mm-hmm. On the inside you wrap the gap mm-hmm. between the window and the finish wall with molding. So I want to just kind of go over a little bit of this project that we did. This is our project up in PV Estates. We did this last year, and it's a vaulted ceiling job. And this is one of the reasons that we came up with that episode on how to insulate the vaulted ceilings, because a lot of the houses up there have these vaulted ceilings, and there's no way to up until now, that hadn't been really a good way to insulate the ceilings. In this house, we did replace all the doors and the windows with Pella Windows. This is we had to rip off the roof. There was an old chimney here that we demoed out, and quite a bit of work there. It turns out that in this job, these beams had fatigued, so we installed new beams there. And we did a little bit over 25 windows. I think we may have done 26, 27 windows, a couple little small ones we did. But this is basically how your windows get shipped. They come wrapped in a plastic wrap, and then you've got some cardboard and some bumpers on the ends. Windows are heavy, man. These windows, they're pretty solid product.
Oh yeah.
This is a casement window right outside the laundry room, and we had a pretty good combination of different types of windows. We used casements, full-size open casement windows, because it gives you awesome air circulation,
Oh yeah.
This house sits up a little bit up on the hill, so they get a nice ocean breeze. And this is a kind of a profile of the side of the house. This is from a street view. So we put in a new door here. This was actually a full-size opening, and it made really no sense to there were like louvered windows down here. So we ended up closing that up, and we put in two nice large casement windows in there. And those are the only windows in that room, by the way. So when you open those windows up now and you open the door into the hallway, you get a nice little breeze. This is a very tricky scenario, especially in PV estates, where you have windows that meet at a corner. The reason being, when these houses were designed, the seismic performance requirement of the wall was nowhere near what it is today. It's very difficult to get this low profile without, you have to do a lot of plywood sheathing in order to have this low profile in the corners. For those of you who don't know, engineers like to have 2 feet from every corner before you put a window in. So it gives them enough meat to put plywood in there, and then you can get good seismic performance. We ended up putting a lot of plywood on the inside of the wall of this particular house to get that kind of performance. So getting back to the window conversation, let's talk a little bit about your window collections. And we got a kind of a cool image here of the 3 different series, and kind of walk us through what's the best use of each one. I know that you guys are trying to fade out the architectural and kind of focus on the reserve series, but so let's kind of talk about that dynamic, because I think people should know. Let's assume that we're talking to folks that don't want to do vinyl, they're only considering wood windows. What are kind of the biggest differences between the lifestyle series and, let's say, the reserve series?
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and say that, the nice thing about these 3 product lines, and a lot of companies have like a good, better, best type scenario when they're comparing their different wood lines.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case with us. We've got this, they're made with the same quality, they're made with the same wood, they're assembled the same way, and they actually have the same warranties on them. Just when you move up in line, you're just offered, you have options to have more, colors, more sizes. You just have more options to choose from when you move up, but the quality of all of them are the exact same, which is nice. So it kind of starts at the lifestyle series there, and that's split up into dual pane and triple pane, and so it's a wood-clad window.
So you can get triple pane in the lifestyle.
Absolutely, yep.
Right.
And that third pane actually comes on a hinged panel that kind of hinges out like a door from the inside, and then if you want to ever put tilting blinds or like a pleated shade in between there, then you have access to doing that as well on that lifestyle. So it's got some cool options to it. You also have that sound package that I told you about, which is the thicker glass where you can meet upwards of 36 to 38 on your STC rating, which is actually really high. And so that's kind of where we start at. And then when you move up to, and I knew you had mentioned it, we are kind of starting to phase out that Architect series. And we've already done away with the doors. We're quoting the doors now in the Reserve series. We have all the same options in the Reserve series as we did in that Architect series. They're very, very similar. The main difference is just going to be the cladding. We had a roll form cladding, which is it's rolled onto the sash on that Architect series, and the Reserve series actually has an extruded cladding. It's a much thicker cladding that's extruded onto the wood on that sash and on that frame as well. But in terms of the special, the custom options on that, kind of like the grid pattern that you've got on this one on the far left.
So the Reserve series, you have a kind of a really, hard. It's kind of a really cool shape, right? So you wouldn't have these kinds of shapes in the Lifestyle. Right?
No. So if you're doing
this is mostly going to be like rectangles and squares. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And we have a lot of our standard sizes. A lot of our streamlined sizes are going to be offered in that Lifestyle series. In terms of if you're doing custom shapes or sizes, we usually just quote under the Reserve series there. Okay. And you've got way more colors to choose from in that Reserve series.
I think it's 3 times more. You've got like 20 some colors.
Yeah. So 27 colors in that Reserve series, which is nice.
And then the Lifestyle is something like 10 or 15.
Yeah, it's 10 to 12, I believe.
Okay.
We're constantly making changes. So, but yeah, you've got about 3 times more color options just on that Reserve series. And we also, under that Reserve series, it's split into 2. So we have a traditional and a contemporary, under that Reserve series. The contemporary is going to be, much thinner profile in terms of, your sash profile. So if you're doing like a modern style home, that's like a great option. So it's got a similar. The profile is very similar to that photo right there. And then we actually have a Baldwin hardware that comes on those contemporary windows, and it's a super high quality hardware. And we can attach photos of that to the blog as well. Okay. And then under the traditional style, we have a putty glaze grid, so it actually is historically accurate with the old grids they made back in the day were made with a putty knife.
Yeah.
And so I know in Palos Verdes you have some older homes, and they need to match a specific style. And so we have a few different sash profiles in terms of the putty glaze, and then what we call an OG profile, which has a little bit more detailing. So you have a lot of options to choose from and to present to that our jury to get as close to what you want and what's required as possible.
Right on. Mm-hmm. I think that as far as the last few jobs that we did up in PV, they were. I'm pretty sure we did one. We did the Architect, and then the most recent one, which is the one we showed them. Mm-hmm. I did the Reserve.
Yeah.
And that was just. They didn't have a very, intricate shapes and stuff there, but the Reserve window looks. When you look at that Reserve window up close, and right before you're going to make your final decision, we'll always have a Donovan come out with the actual samples, and the Reserve just looks awesome, and then when you operate the hardware, it's so smooth. For the difference in the price, look, there's a good difference, significant difference between the Lifestyle and the Reserve, but from the Architect to the Reserve, it's not much. Mm-hmm. It's not much. Mm-hmm. So really, that's kind of like your primo window, right? So if you're really looking to you got an expensive house, your house is worth a few $1,000,000. You want some good stuff in there, and especially the windows that you're going to operate all the time, like your bedroom window, mm-hmm. or the windows in the living room, that you'll open all the time. There's nothing like that, especially mm-hmm. if you're putting in these full casement windows, right, where you're going to crank on it. Right. You're going to be feeling the window hardware all the time. It isn't like mm-hmm. just a double hung window where you can click the latch and open it up. Mm-hmm. So I think that as people consider the performance for sound, and you consider the performance, by the way, if you're up in PV, you're in a fire zone. All mm-hmm. of PV Peninsula is a fire zone, so it have to be tempered. You're going to be spending probably, the blog article covers the pricing, by the way. We're going to have a link to the price below. But if you're spending over $60,000-$70,000 for windows, man, what's a few $1,000 more to get like what you want to get the most performance that you can get. Now, I'll be honest with you, we haven't done the 3 pane windows yet up there. I think we did a double pane with the top of the line reserve, but I think I take that back. We installed the triple pane in the guy's home office. The rest of the house not so much, but I think it's a great option to if you know you're going to be home in your home office to upgrade maybe 2, 3, 4 windows at the most. With that, I think it makes sense. If you work at night and you're sleeping during the day, maybe it makes sense to do a triple pane in your bedroom, in the master bedroom. I don't know. I think that it's super easy for us to quote out the difference, right? We get a total window count. We figure out which ones it makes most sense to do a triple pane in. It's no big deal to give somebody the delta in price from a double pane to a triple pane, right?
No, not at all. And I mean, we're very hands-on. So if you need me on the job to show product, I mean, I'm always available to show product. And you want to know what you're getting before you buy it. So we're pretty flexible in terms of when and where we can meet to go over and let you guys feel what you're actually buying.
So Donovan, walk us through your display window here, and let's show people what we got.
All right, so in that slide that we had kind of seen here with that integrated roll screen on our newer window here. Now this is on the Reserve series. Just so you can understand what I was explaining, so the screen is connected to your sash right here, so when it's closed, it rolls up into a cylinder.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and so when your window comes up all the way, and then when you want to release it, you actually just pull your sash down, and then it goes back down into the frame.
Huh.
So it's a super cool option. We're the only company that's doing it right now. That's one of our 150 patents.
So actually, why don't you rotate the window again? Because for folks, I'm sorry, like how you had it, you separated and opened it out.
Yeah.
So the people, we could show them how easy it is to clean those kind of nooks and cranny from the inside, right? Without having to go outside and stepping on landscaping everywhere.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about these double hung windows. And your levers are actually hidden behind your sash here, so they're not bulging out and creating an ugly look. They're concealed in the back here, and both sashes will tilt down, and it just makes it easier to clean the outside of your window from the inside of your home, especially if you're on like a second level.
So do that again. Show them kind of how easy it is to make that articulate out.
Yeah.
So right now you're pulling in those little levers in, right?
Yep.
So there's like a little latch on the inside, on the outside of the window.
Yep.
I mean, hypothetically, you're on the inside of the house, right?
Yep, I'm on the inside of the house here.
Right.
And there's latches behind this top sash right here.
Yeah.
And you just pull them in, and then you just pull out, and then it's hinged on the bottom here.
Dude, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now notice, folks, how thick. Go ahead and bring it down like almost horizontal so the camera can get the angle.
Yeah.
So look at how thick the frame is around that window. Look how thick it is. It's probably a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch thicker than like an old school wood window, right? And that's basically so you guys can put all that hardware in there, right, to be able to make it articulate like that.
Right. And you can kind of see all the weather stripping within here as well. Just so, I mean, it's even right here. I mean, this thing's loaded with weather stripping. The locking mechanism is a 180-degree lock, so it locks it in real nice and tight.
Cool. So go ahead and do that and close it back up.
Yeah.
So you're basically bringing in those latches, and it's pretty secure.
Yeah.
Now I think that's super awesome that you can make the window go up and down, and you've got the screens.
Yeah. So for example, the screen is not attached now. Put the window down, bring it back up. You've got your screen there.
So it's magnetically held to the bottom of the window.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you go on your top sash right here, you've got one on the top as well.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Look how easy the windows move. That's so cool.
And then when your window gets past 18 inches here, it just
lets loose on its own.
lets it loose. Yeah.
So okay, how hard is it to replace that in the event that it's somehow broken?
I mean, we've got a full service team out here as well,
Okay.
employed by Pella. So if anything goes wrong with that,
Okay.
we can get a service tech out to take care of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So before you rotate the window to show them the outside cladding, I just want to bring people's attention, Brian, if you could put them on the other camera so you could see the thickness of the outside of the frame.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. It's a solid piece of wood, man. It looks like almost like an inch and a half thick.
Oh, you're talking right here?
That way, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a super heavy duty window, and you can see, on our lifestyle series looks the same way in terms of the thickness of the actual frame, the jamb right here. So you can see, I mean, you're getting a full wood window through and through. Nature's best insulator. So your energy ratings, all of our windows meet Title 24.
Right on.
So.
Okay, go ahead and rotate it all the way around for the folks to check it out. So this is kind of walk you through the features of the cladding and how they connect on the edges, right? Yeah,
so it's actually a butt joinery right here, and we use an extruded cladding, which is super thick cladding on the exterior here. I know we like to use it a lot in the Midwest if there's hail, things like that can dent metal.
Right.
But we don't have too many extreme conditions. But it's always good to know that your aluminum that's covering your wood and what's essentially on the inside of your home is thick and applied well. So very high quality clad that we use,
So what about fading? What do you guys think the life of that? It's powder coated, the finish.
So our fiberglass is powder coated. Our aluminum is not powder coated. We do use a high quality Sherwin-Williams paint on all of our paint for the exterior cladding.
So that's sprayed on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so we have a few different paint options. We have an EnduraClad. We have an EnduraClad Plus, and then we have Seacoast. And so we use Seacoast to uphold the warranty. But when you get into the EnduraClad Plus, that's when you get into like the Kynar paint, which is to help against fading. I will say we have reps that have been here, 20 plus years. We sell dark windows all the time out here.
Yeah.
Haven't heard of many,
Fading out.
Yeah, fading out has not been a huge problem at all.
All right, cool.
So we sell a lot of black windows out here, and then the dark.
They're very popular, yeah.
Yeah, they're getting very popular right now. So.
Yeah. So let's walk people through this cutout that you brought for us for the components, kind of a cross-sectional component, right?
Yeah. So this is going to be a corner section here of our Reserve Contemporary series, just so you can kind of see the guts of that window. I know we showed you in the slide, but and then your extruded cladding, and you can actually see your thin sash profile. This is the Contemporary series here, and you can see the lever. This is the Baldwin hardware that we use for the lever. It's got a super modern look and super thin sight lines. So again, it's under the Reserve series, similar as the Reserve Traditional. This is just the Contemporary version of it.
So the inside color of the wood, you can get that, order it painted, or you can get it primed, or you can get it stain grade.
Yeah, so we have a few different stains that we offer from the factory. We have a few different shades of white paint that we offer for the interior, and then also you can get it primed or unfinished if you want to go a custom color on site. But we do have a wide array of stains and paints that we can offer from the factory.
Right on.
Yeah.
A lot of times we've ordered it primed because people wanted to have the flexibility of what paint color. They didn't know what they were going to paint the rooms, particularly what a bedroom, the color of bedrooms painted and the color of living rooms painted could be different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know, if you're as a customer, if you don't know what your paint palette is going to be on the inside, you can order them primered, and then the painters can paint them whatever coloring, whatever matches. The rest
that's
of
common as well.
Yeah. So Brian, do we have any questions for the folks watching online?
Yeah, one of our viewers would like to know, Alex, why do you like Pella Windows?
I think that they're awesome quality. I think as a contractor, knowing that the factory is accessible, a lot of times when you buy products through Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and you have an issue, right? Like there's a lot of people in between the factory and the product. Mm-hmm. So on jobs that are big, these windows, they're going to spend probably a little bit over maybe $100,000 by the time you factor in fixing stucco and all that stuff, painting the house, etc. So if we have an issue with a size, if we have an issue with something breaking in transit, I just want to be able to contact somebody directly and get started on a solution, right?
Yeah.
Getting the product on its own is cool. I mean, the product is awesome. Everybody that we've installed these for have been totally stoked. So that's never been an issue. The question is on these large orders, and maybe some of the installation is a little tricky. You have shapes where the walls protrude. They have like different shapes to them, different sizes. If you saw in the previous picture where we installed them in the kitchen and dining, it was like a kind of a breakfast nook area. That stuck out a little bit. We needed a little bit of factory help with figuring out how to get that in there, especially if the old windows had weird partitions. The PV also, the art jury is very particular about the side windows near a door, and how that the gap, how you're going to deal with the configuration of the gap. So there's a lot of little intricacies that if you had direct communication with the factory rep, it helps clarify and avoid issues. So that's my thing. And look, we source windows from all different sources, right? It really just depends on what the customer needs. But when we get a customer up in PV Estates or Mirror Lest or Rancho Palos Verdes or Rolling Hills Estates, and they are talking about doing windows, we talk about Pella Windows. That's what we talk about. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
we got any other questions?
Yeah, somebody else would like to know, do you need plans? Do you need details? Do you need anything to submit to the city when replacing windows?
In PV Estates, 100%, absolutely, yes. Most of the cities now are requiring exterior elevations showing a total window schedule and then what that wall looks like with the window. So I would say 99% of the time you're going to need that.
Right.
Somebody else would like to know, how long does it take to get your window once it's ordered?
Okay, that's a question for you.
Yeah. So it all depends. Lead times can change, as the conditions change in the market. But prior to a few months ago, we were sitting at 4 to 6 weeks from time of order to time of delivery. A lot of our windows right now are 12 to anywhere from 10 to 14 weeks.
It's a COVID situation.
Yeah, it's a COVID situation, a supply chain issue. Every company is facing it right now for the most part. Some are worse, some are a little bit better, but right now I'd say anywhere from 10 to 14 weeks.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. By the way, for folks that live up here in the peninsula, once you get planning approval of your windows, order the windows. Just order the windows. That's the best way, because you're going to need that. We're going to need that as your contractor right away. So I always tell folks, the minute that we get approval of planning and the art jury, let's just order the windows, because it's a big lead time. There's a big lead time for kitchen cabinets, a lot of the other custom stuff. There's going to be a large lead time, so you have to order that at the beginning, during your pre-planning of the project. As a part of order of operations, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be waiting on windows, because if you're doing multiple different trades. So it's good to plan ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Brian?
Some of our viewers want to shout out. Casey, one of our viewers, wants a shout out. Luce also wants a shout out.
Right on. Thank you, Casey and Luce.
Somebody else would like to know, are there any order minimums or window replacements?
No. I mean, you can order a screen, you can order one window. I'm here to help for it all.
Cool. And somebody else would like to know if Pella also offers non-wood windows like vinyl or fiberglass.
Vinyl and fiberglass, yes. And we actually offer an all aluminum window now. It's under one of our luxury companies that we just acquired called Benelli. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Alex, what's your favorite type of window? It looks like you use a lot of casements in that.
I do like casement windows. I like casement windows. When you live by the coast, you want to, especially in the summertime, you want to try and not have the AC on all the time. Yeah. You open up all those casements. The beautiful part about the casement, if you look at this is a double hung window, right? The beautiful part about the casement window is when you open the window, the entire area of the window is open, right? So you get a nice breeze. If you're fortunate enough to have the back or the front of your house face the ocean, you're always going to get a nice fresh breeze, and it cools down the house. I live in Redondo. I open up the back windows of my house, and in about 10-15 minutes, all the heat is gone. So I try and use casement windows as much as possible. Some people that have not used to casement window, they have like a thing about the crank. I always thought that was kind of like a funny quirk about folks that they're. So when we do a major house remodel, I'll throw a casement window in the bedrooms because it's a great way to be able to escape in case of a fire, right? So if you're a plus size person like me, the bigger the opening to escape a fire, the better. And it's funny, like these other windows, they'll meet the egress requirement because they're big. But man, there's nothing like opening the window for ventilation, and in case you got to jump out, God forbid, because of a fire, you have a nice big window. So I try and do like a 2x3 or maybe even a 2x4 window.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially if the rooms are bigger, it's cool. It's not a big deal to frame out. When we're gutting the house anyway, it's no big deal to frame out a little bit bigger window opening. So, but definitely something to talk to your contractor about. I like casement windows. That's my personal thing too. Also, if you have a long window like the one in that job, that was one of the bedrooms, and you want a view, you get the Reserve series with a low profile, and man, you feel like you have one big window. If you have an ocean view, mountain view, anything like that,
more glass. Yeah,
more glass is better. So that's some of the reasons I use those windows.
I agree.
Looks like a question for Donovan. Somebody would like to know about the integrated blinds that Pella offers.
Yeah. So the integrated blinds, we started that years back, and it was called the Designer Series, and we've basically just renamed that, so it's under the Lifestyle Series now, with the triple pane. And you can either do a tilting metal blind in between that, or you can do a pleated shade that actually accordions to the top there. And they're manual operated, or you can get them remote operated, and with our what we call instinctive technology. And so there's a lot of different options. I mean, we've got a bunch of different colors as well to match the color window that you're doing. But it's great for a lot of people, especially that want to minimize what's going on the inside of the window where you have like your casing. A lot of people don't want to do curtains and blinds and have everything getting in the way there, and so it's a great alternative for projects like that. There's also a lot of good photos online of that. I wish I brought a sample for you today of one of those, because it's a pretty cool feature in that window, and we've been doing it for a long time. So
well, you see down in the flats like Redondo and Hermosa and Manhattan Beach, you're starting to see modern architecture, right? So that, when you're trying to get a nice slick look, and not have, like you said, all the window coverings, that's an awesome option, to be able to integrate that into the top of the window. So, like I think that if you're having a new house built, there's probably going to be, a few hundred decisions you're going to make. If you're going to have a remodel, you're probably going to make, maybe 100 different choices for different components of the project. And when the windows are part of, let's say you have 25 or 30 windows you're going to replace, you really should give a significant amount of time. I think the homeowner should dedicate a significant amount of time to really kind of think about how that's going to operate. I see all the time. There was a project we just finished recently where the kids' room had like a door that led to the outside, and like when we were kids, we would never really want that, right? Because you figure it's a little bit unsafe. Like you don't want. Maybe your kids are not a big deal when they're small, but when they're a little bit older and they're teenagers, they're gonna flee. They're gonna flee through that door. But aside from that, like the way that you lay your furniture out, how you're going to lay the room out really affects like the window size and operation. And for houses that you're going to just retrofit the window or put windows same size like for like replacements, maybe not so much an issue. But if you're doing a major remodel where you're gutting the inside of the walls, then potentially it may make sense to change the dimensions of the windows.
Absolutely.
So it should be something that I think homeowners should be aware of and spend a little bit of time thinking about that with their contractor.
Somebody else would like to know if Donovan, you can tell us a little bit more about the wood aluminum clad windows.
Wood with aluminum clad? Yeah, I mean, most wood windows nowadays, they have some sort of cladding on the exterior from most companies. A lot of companies will go with an aluminum for that exterior clad. That's what we go with. That's what I prefer. I know some companies will do like a vinyl cladding on the exterior, or even like a fiberglass or a composite cladding on the outside. But yeah, it's just to protect against the the elements of everyday life that's hitting your windows. And back in the day when they did wood windows, it was just wood exterior, wood interior. And so, you'll see a lot of old wood windows that are just, torn apart from the sun, from the outdoor conditions and things like that. So that cladding, it's really just to protect, against the elements outside the house. And I do think aluminum is one of the best ones that you can get. So it's a very sturdy, material that holds up for a long time.
Right on.
Yeah.
Alex, do you have any tips for homeowners that are looking into window replacements?
Yes, I think that if you're going to install, if you need for whatever, either you want it or you need it. If you want or need wood windows, you really should consider the Pella products. I think that cost for many people becomes a determining factor, right, in a lot of these decisions. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at your overarching budget, right, for the whole project, break down your budget into sections, right? So like windows and roofing and outside stucco and flooring, and try and figure out a way to maybe reduce your overall spending in other sections so that you can get what you need for the windows. I've seen this. Yeah. I've seen this happen a lot of times. So the kind of the cool part is that if you don't have crazy dimensions and crazy shapes, you can use the Lifestyle series, and you're going to get the same quality. So you're going to have the same wood, same cladding. The manufacturing methodology is a little bit different. That's how you get the price down, and you're giving up the kind of massive selection in colors and shapes. Mm-hmm. So if you've got mostly rectangles, but you need a wood window, I think that the right thing to do would be to put you into the Lifestyle series. And then if budget isn't so much of an issue, or you've been saving this for quite a bit of time, and you can make sense of the additional money, then by all means go with the Reserve of the Architectural series. Mm-hmm. But I think that you have to look at the total project in buckets of money for different components, and then on a macro level, even before you start pricing these things out. Specifically for the materials, you start to kind of create a little chart of buckets for, hey, this is how much I think we're going to spend on roofing, so much we're going to spend on stucco, so much we're going to spend on windows, etc. And that way you can move monies around so that you can get the appropriate thing for each bucket, right? So you're good. I think that's probably the planning and having. With us, the way that people work is, you hire us, we'll do the design for you, we'll do the architectural engineering if you need to, but you're paying us for our opinion, right? So in the beginning, we can spend a lot of time kind of pre-construction trying to figure out how we're going to put this whole thing together and what are going to be the different materials that you're going to use. So working with somebody, whether it's us or another contractor that has that same methodology for approaching a project, will go a long way in making sure that that you allocate enough money for the important stuff, right? The stuff you can't do later. So I think that's, and then by the way, we have an article on that, on the different, how to plan a project and different budgets for these things. So we have a lot of resources on baycitiesconstruction.com.
Cool. Donovan, what territories do you service?
Yeah, so I am up in the South Bay, basically LAX all the way down to Long Beach along the coast there. And then I'll go in, I come into Torrance, in areas just east of that. But, we cover all of LA, so I just have a pretty big territory here. So, that includes Palos Verdes, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, El Segundo, all the way down to Long Beach. So,
cool.
Alex, same question for you.
So we're doing work in LA, down here in the South Bay, and Orange County. That's pretty much our deal. And really for us, it's a lot more important that we're a good match for the project and the homeowner than so much the area. We've gone outside of those areas. If the project is right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you also service Orange County?
We do all of Orange County. And even we'll go even down to San Clemente.
Go where the work's at.
Yeah. Like I said, it's more important to match up with the homeowner than
give people what
the
they
location. Yeah. Cool. So is that pretty much it for the questions? Right on.
Cool.
All right. So hey, folks, if you want to learn more about construction, you want to learn more about windows, we've got an article that I wrote about Pella Windows and about doing work down here in PV, in Palos Verdes Peninsula. So if we definitely will have a link to that. If you want to learn more about construction, single family construction in general, please visit our blog at baycitiesconstruction.com. We've got hundreds of articles there to help you, and we've spent countless hours creating this content for your benefit. So it's free, it's there. We add to it all the time. We add several articles every month, and it's a great resource for you to commence your research on a bunch of different home improvement projects. So a little bit if you want to set up a consultation with us, we'll do it virtual. This is our kind of basic info. We've been in business for a long time, servicing Southern California for 16 years. And we'll offer an interior design, we'll do architectural engineering, we'll represent you with the city, and obviously we'll manage your project. We work with, Pella Windows, and my goal is to put together a team of pros to make sure that you have a good experience in construction. Construction is a very hard business to be in. It's a hard business to put these projects back together after we take them apart. So we spend a lot of time trying to get the right team in place, and it's for your benefit. So if you want to contact our office, we've got the number up on the screen. You want to find out what people are saying about us online, you'll find reviews on Yelp and Howls and Google and etc. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Donovan for coming out from Pella. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So look forward to showing some videos on the next projects, having you out and walking through and explaining to people the different features of your windows when we install them.
Oh yeah.
And that is it for episode 44 of the Bay Cities Construction Show. Look forward to seeing you next time, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Over the years, I've built and remodeled lots of homes, so I know the value of working with experts, like the product experts at Ferguson. When you're ready to make your dreams a reality, find inspiration with bath and kitchen pictures you love. Choose the right contractor or designer for your project, and then schedule some time to meet with a Ferguson product expert. They'll help you find the perfect products from top brands. So schedule a consultation and visit a Ferguson near you.
What's up, guys? Alex with Bay Cities Construction. Hey, I'm reminding you, you can have a free consultation with me virtually if you go to baycitiesconstruction.com, put in your info, and Brian will book you for a one-on-one session, a virtual session with me. You have any questions about today's show, please put them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and then comment on the show if you like it, if you thought it sucked, whatever. Put your comments below. It helps us with the algorithm, helps us get found. We really appreciate you watching the show, and we look forward to talking to you in the event that you need some help with some home improvement project. See ya. My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contract. You need a team of pros.